When I came to London, I always had that passion in me still to dance around my house, dance around my room, no skill whatsoever, but I just had fun. And when I came to London, when I was working for the magazine actually, an opportunity came up to go to a dance class. Nobody in the office wanted to go, and I was like, yeah, I want to go.
Welcome to the first episode of Way of Living. I'll be hosting regular podcast on where people will talk about their way of living. Today I'm joined by Nerissa. So hi.
Hi.
How are you today?
I'm good, thank you.
Yes, good. Thank you so much for doing this.
You're welcome.
So I would like you to tell me more about yourself, where you come from, because your life is crazy and you come from everywhere in the world. So yeah, tell me more about where you come from.
Okay, so originally I'm from Australia. So I grew up in Melbourne, and probably just after I graduated university, I moved from Melbourne, where all my family are, to Sydney, which is probably about a 12-hour drive away or an hour and a half flight. For me, there was more work opportunities there, and I studied journalism and media communications. But when I moved to Sydney, I kind of fell into the charity sector. So I was there for about, let's say, 8 years.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and then from there, I then basically moved my way around the world and ended up here in London.
So how did you come from Australia all the way to London?
Yeah, so I guess for me, growing up, I always had a passion to travel. So my dad is from Mauritius. My mum was born in Germany. And I remember I would spend hours on the beach, just, like listening to Beyonce on my iPod. And I would always just imagine my life, what it would be like in different countries. I used to imagine, what their life was like. They used to tell me stories, and I was just so fascinated. So I always knew there was something in me that didn't want to basically stay in Australia. I just wanted to explore. And a couple of years ago, I met an Italian boy, and we dated for a while. We're not together now, but basically he came and he was in Australia for about a year. His visa expired, so he had to leave the country. And at the time, he had planned to go to Canada. And he was like, why don't you come with me? And there was no hesitation there. I was like, this is my opportunity to explore the world like I always wanted to. So I was like, yeah, got my visa. We went to Toronto. We were there for about a month. We just could not find work. Couldn't find work, couldn't find accommodation. The struggle was real. So we decided to explore a bit of Canada, explore a bit of America, and then he had previously lived in London about 5 years ago, give or take, and he was like, why don't we go to London? And at first I didn't want to go because every Australian goes to London.
Yeah.
It is the typical thing to do, and I'm always the person who wants to do, if there's a trend and everyone's going for that trend, I don't want the trend. Mm-hmm. And when the trend is over, then I want the trend. Yeah. I always want to be different.
Don't follow the rules.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I do have a little bit of family here, some cousins and auntie and uncle, so I was like, okay, let's give it a go. I think the plan was to come here for maybe 6 months a year. 2.5 years later, I'm still here. And so yeah, I just absolutely love it.
So what did you do? So why are you so in love with London, first of all?
Yeah.
And what did you do? The first job you had in London, what was it?
So obviously my experience was in the charity sector in Australia. So I worked for cancer charities, Australian Red Cross. So I didn't really have much experience in any other area. So I went straight to charities. So I worked for Marie Curie.
Oh yeah.
And I was there for, I want to say a year, a bit over a year. Then I got to a point where I was like, I've just done this for too long now. I need a change. I want something different. And I always had a passion to write. That's why I studied journalism. I was like, yeah, I want to, write for magazines and stuff. And I guess long story short, I kind of got to a point where it's like, I need to make a drastic change. And it's a huge risk, but I need to do it for my happiness. Yeah. I couldn't imagine my life in a job where I was waking up every day and just no longer passionate, no longer happy about going to work. So I was thinking about quitting for a while, so I saved up a couple months' rent, quit my job and took an internship at a magazine, which is basically £10 a day. No one can survive off that, so that's why I planned my savings. From there, I didn't really know what I was going to do or where I was going to go, but I knew that was the first step I needed to take. And then basically, it presented a new opportunity for me, so that kind of made me want to stay in London a bit more. And Australia is so far from everything, and me loving to travel, I cannot believe that I can get on a flight here and be in Italy for like £30.
Yeah.
Like, that's insane. Or 2 hours and I'm in Paris.
Yeah.
Like, that appeal to me is also keeping me here. I don't want to go back to Australia until I know I've travelled as much as Europe as I can. When I came to London, I always had that passion in me still to dance around my house, dance around my room, no skill whatsoever, but I just had fun. And when I came to London, when I was working for the magazine actually, an opportunity came up to go to a dance class. Nobody in the office wanted to go, and I was like, yeah, I want to go. And then I was really nervous, and so I looked up the studio online, and it basically said adult classes for beginners, and I was like, this is perfect, I'm going to go. And I remember going there, and I was so scared before, I almost didn't turn up. Yeah, and I think it's just one of those things, the fear of the unknown you get in your mind. Even though I read that it was a beginner's class, I was walking in and I was thinking, oh my god, but what if everyone's a professional dancer compared to me? What if I stuff up the routine? What if people laugh at me? And I was just, it was almost like I was about to jump out of a plane rather than just go to a dance class. I was that scared. And then I think it was 20 minutes into the class, I was that girl that couldn't remember half of the routine, but the empowering vibes I got from that class and the support and the confidence, I never looked back. I left that class, booked into weekly classes, and it's been 6 months now. I dance 3-4 times a week. Like, I'm obsessed. Yeah.
Are you getting better now?
Definitely getting better. So I have definitely noticed an improvement from day one to like now. And I also like to film my classes because, not to be like, oh my god, I'm so amazing, but I get to look at myself and see where I'm going wrong, and then I can improve that way.
Yeah, Instagram.
Yes, Instagram.
Have you ever danced before? Have you ever danced?
No. So growing up.
So growing up.
So growing up, actually, I did do jazz and tap for about a year, but I was super young, and I can't actually remember why I was pulled out of that studio. I think it maybe closed down or something, and then I was really fascinated with ballet. And there were girls across the road from me growing up who did ballet, and my dad was always like, no, it's going to ruin your feet, and it was quite expensive as well. My family, I mean, we weren't poor, but we weren't well off. My dad worked really hard, my mum was studying for a long time, so we kind of got by. So dance is very expensive, especially when I was younger in Australia. So that wasn't really an option. My uncle's actually a karate instructor. And so my dad was like, you're going in karate. A, because it's free. B, because you're a girl and I think you should know how to defend yourself. So I did karate for years. And I mean, I'm just trying to think. Black belt is obviously the highest. And then this particular style of karate, there underneath that is brown, purple, don't know, another colour going in there. Basically, I got just before purple, brown, black, and then I stopped.
So you said that it's very empowering, those classes.
Yes.
So what do you mean by this?
Yeah, so the company is Seen on Screen, and I've done a lot of, well, not too many, but I have done classes outside of Seen on Screen, and nothing gives me like that empowerment like Seen on Screen does. So the CEO and founder of Seen on Screen is Bonnie, and she is amazing, and she has all these incredible instructors that are really uplifting. So at the start of every class, it's not like you're just going in, and although the classes are, fun and fitness as well, it's not like you just go in, learn a routine and leave.
Yeah.
At the start of every class, these instructors, I can't even say how amazing they are. They give it comes from the heart, and they give their little like motivational speeches, but it really resonates with how women feel in society. Like, it allows you, it gives you the space to be unapologetically you. Like, there's a lot of times in, you're walking down the street and women aren't allowed to feel like sexy or confident, and when you're in that studio, you can be as sexy as you want, as confident as you want, with no judgment. And one of the instructors, Sophie as well, she's amazing, and she basically says, don't worry about the routine. If you go wrong and strong. And that resonates so much, I feel like, into everyday life. There'll be moments, even now, where I'll be like, oh my God, what was the next move? Panic, and it's so good, because like, I'm not going to just walk off.
Yeah.
I'm going to stand there, regroup, and continue on. And it's so true for like everyday life. It just teaches you, things are going to go wrong, but you don't need to walk off. You don't need to give up. You can just keep going. And yeah, I hope I'm explaining this right. But
I like the go wrong but go strong.
Yeah.
That's incredible. What are you doing now? Like, you broke the 9-to-5 habits, so you quit the magazine job.
Yeah.
You took dance classes. But what do you do now?
Yeah. So
not just the dance.
Yeah. So I think for me, I guess in a way I've always like rebelled against society. I never understood, like, first of all, who created the whole you need to go to school, get an education, like, and then get a job, work your way up in the job, get married, have kids, all in this order. I'm always like, who was the person that said that? Why do we have to, do this? And, I did the 9-to-5 for years, but a part of me was always like, why do I have to wait maybe until I retire to travel? Why do I have to, wait to do this or do that? If I want to do it now, I should be doing it. And it's funny because I'm 32, and I think it's an age thing. Everybody's always like, okay, you're 30, you're traveling the world, you're a bit lost, or you don't know what's going on.
You're not married yet?
Yeah.
No, I don't want to go.
Exactly. And I mean, for me, I always think everything happens for a reason. When it's my time to get married, I'll get married. If I'm meant to have kids, I will have kids. But I don't want to plan my life according to these sort of like set time frames that it's been like throughout society. For like generations. It's funny, I was speaking to my dad yesterday, and my cousins, they're getting either, settling down, they've got kids, leaning towards engagements, things like that. And he's like, everyone keeps asking, what about my kids? Yeah. And I was like, you tell them that your kids are living their best life.
Aww.
Like, that's the thing.
He's supportive.
Yeah, he is supportive, but I think for him, he didn't come from a lot, so I think security for him will make him feel better as a parent that I'm going to be okay. And I think it's hard for him to understand that I am okay. I am okay traveling. I am okay, doing what I'm doing, even though it's not the traditional 9-to-5.
Do you go back to Australia often, or?
So since I've been here, I've only been back once, but I am planning on going back for Christmas this year.
So how do you do with the visa? Because your mom is German.
Yes.
She was born in Germany.
She was born in Germany. So I think she was there until she was about 15.
Oh.
Moved to Australia, but she never became an Australian citizen.
Okay.
So that enabled me to get a German passport. And until something happens with Brexit and I get kicked out, I'm fine over here. Which is quite lucky for me because there's an age limit. So if you want to, as an Australian, if you want to come to London, or as a British person, if you want to go to Australia and live and work, you have to be under the age of 30.
Yeah.
That's the cutoff. And I got here just before I was 30. So, but if I was on the 2-year visa, I would have already had to have left, which I think is such a shame because in today's society, everybody is, it's not necessarily like people want to, travel and have that lifestyle before they're 30. People are realizing that later on in life.
Yeah.
And these restrictions are like holding them back. So yes, I travel with my European passport here.
That's lucky.
Which is so good, yeah.
Yeah.
So I quit my 9-to-5 job just because I really wanted to write, and I wasn't getting much opportunity there to write. And I was like, I could stay here and keep getting those paychecks, but it's not going to make me happy at the end of the day. And I think what a lot of people, sometimes mistake is that other people are responsible for their happiness. Like I could have been in that job and been miserable and blamed the company for not allowing me to write. But at the end of the day, I need to look at things and be like, okay, this opportunity isn't presenting itself. If this is what I really want to do, I need to make that happen. So basically I quit, and now I've gone freelance. And that's not the easiest thing to do. I don't have work coming in every week. So I do have a bit of savings to, cover my rent and things like that, but I'm trying freelance. I'm actually writing a novel on the side, and I've been doing that for over a year, so that's kind of where I want to go. My dream is to be a New York Times bestselling author.
Oh wow.
So,
what is your novel about? Do you want to talk about it?
So I'm very secretive about it,
Of
just
course.
because, I'm like, what if somebody steals my idea?
Yeah.
But I guess I could say the genre is paranormal romance.
Okay.
I'm a romantic at heart. I need a good love story. But as well, it's also very empowering. The lead character is female, just based on how I think females in today's society should be empowered. I guess it's, I'm trying to think who, the audience would be like young adults.
Yeah.
And that's probably as much as I'm willing to say.
Yeah, no problem. So what influenced this book? Why did...
I think it's interesting because my mum loved to read, and she really encouraged my brother and myself as children to read a lot. And she was just like, even basic things like you're going to learn words and it'll make you smarter. And so I fell in love with books. And I remember a couple of years ago, I was like, I can't believe people write books. How do they do it? Like, this is incredible. I could never do anything like that. And it wasn't really something on my radar. I knew I loved to write, but I always thought about magazine writing, article writing, my travel blog, rather than an actual novel. And this is gonna sound, like, oh my God, really? But like, I had a dream. I know it all starts with like, I had a dream. But I literally had a dream, and I woke up one day and I was like, that would be kind of cool for a story. And then I ignored it. And I kid you not, the next night it was almost like where that dream stopped, it continued on. And I woke up and I was like, if this isn't a sign, I don't know what it is. So I just wrote it down.
Yeah.
And then I just kept thinking about it over and over, and different scenes, I guess, will pop into my mind, and I would just start writing them down. And then it just went from there. I was like, actually, I think this could be something. I don't know if it's going to be just like a personal project for me, or if it will be, published in the end. But I was like, I'm just going to see where this goes. And that was probably about a year ago.
Oh wow.
And I'm still writing it. It's a process.
It's a long process.
Yeah.
Even after writing it.
Oh my God.
Like a year.
I know.
Yeah.
I have that in mind.
What's next for you? Is it going to be London forever? Ever is very scary.
I know.
I don't like that, but I'm going to say it.
Yeah. I can't. I'm such I think hippie is the wrong word. I guess wanderlust soul, is that the right term?
Yeah.
Basically just like to float around. So I never really can see myself in one spot forever. My plan is actually, so I'm thinking at the moment to go back to Australia for Christmas, but actually stay throughout the summer, so January, February, March, come back here, stay here for the rest of the year, and then I'm hoping by the end of next year I'll have a clearer idea of exactly what I want to do. But I'm not ready to leave London permanently. Not just saying because of my dance classes, but I feel like there's a part of me that I can really be myself here, where I can't really do that in Australia. I feel like there's two sides of me. The person I can be when I'm over here in Europe, and the person I can be in Australia. And I can't necessarily be both of them in London or both of them in Australia. Yeah. It just doesn't work, and I feel like I shouldn't have to give up one or the other.
Yeah.
So, I mean, my ideal life would be maybe 6 months Australia, 6 months here every year. But I mean, I would need a job that would be able to, you know, finance that.
Yeah.
And accommodation.
Yeah, it's not like you're just talking about Germany, London. It's like
Yeah, exactly.
So next, we don't know.
Yeah, unsure.
Unsure.
Yeah.
I don't like the question, you know, when you have interviews, what's your 5-year life goal?
Yeah.
And I'm like, 5 years? I don't know what I'm going to be doing next week.
Oh my god, I feel the same.
So, yeah, that's
Yeah.
refreshing to know that you can be 32,
Yeah.
have had a career before,
Yeah.
change it,
Yeah.
moved to the other side of the world,
Yeah.
and even not knowing what you're doing.
Exactly. And I think the biggest thing is it's never too late to do what you want. Like, don't worry about where you are in life, where you are, you know, age-wise. When I was in Australia, I was in a very good job. I was progressing. I, you know, had my car, I had everything in my rental that, you know, could have kept me for years to come, furniture-wise, everything. And I was like, if I do this, I'm going to live with regrets. Like, and that's the one thing that I live by. I never want to live with any regrets. And I don't want to wake up in 20 years time, 30 years time, like so many people that have been around me like throughout my life. It's like, I wish I did this, I wish I did that. And it's kind of like, I have the opportunity now to do it, why not do it?
Yeah.
I just feel like we don't have to follow society's rules. We don't have to fit into this preconceived box. You know, we are the writers of our own life. Why not make it a great one? We absolutely don't know if we're going to be here tomorrow. So why not take every opportunity we can today just to really make ourselves happy and live our best lives?
Yeah. Is that your advice?
Yeah, that's my advice. I would say absolutely live with no regrets.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Nerissa. It was really great to talk to you.
Thank you.
And yeah, I'll see you next time.
Yeah, bye.